pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be fucking men. The HVAC Uncensored podcast is brought to you by Yellow Jacket and HVAC Service Ready.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended. Because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Cavey and Kelly McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the HVAC Uncensored podcast, episode 4. Happy to be here, man. As always, sitting alongside my friend and a confidant, Mr. Kelly McKay. How are you, sir?
Yo, awesome. Number 4.
Yeah, this is good, man. It's just finally getting into a routine with this podcast. You know what I mean? Getting some good feedback from listeners, man. This is really good. It's getting fun. It's really getting fun.
Yeah, and we're actually getting some questions coming in, so I think we got a question for tonight, which I'm excited to get into. I've got hopefully some good answers and good advice for that. But yeah, I think it's going good. You guys are giving us lots of love in the group, so thank you so much for the support and the love. We appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely, man. The downloads are incredible. I'm blown away by what you guys are doing. The private message you guys are sending, thank you, and keep them coming. But we'll get into our basic little intro here as usual. I will start. What's going on with you, Kel? How's everything going, buddy?
Going good. No major problems this week, thankfully. That's usually how most weeks go. It just seems like we always want to focus on the bad things when they happen, right? I mean, not a lot new to say, but I know tomorrow we got a big old 16-SEER train condenser to put in, and it's got to go over a fence. So not sure if that's going to happen. I haven't talked to my tech to get the details on it, but the only thing I heard from the guys here in the office is that the fence is about belly high. So first thing I said, well, is that your lower belly or your upper belly? Because if it's upper belly, we're going to have a problem. We're going to be taking a fence down tomorrow.
I know you just talked about lifting some heavy shit and over top a fence, but the only part of that I heard, because you said fucking train, I totally forgot that you are a train dealer. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, I am a train dealer, and it's great equipment. It's been great for us.
No, it is good, man. I think train and carrier are definitely, to me, two of the best out there in the market. But there's always that bashing going back and forth. But I totally forgot that part of it, that you were a train dealer.
Yeah, have been for about 6 years now. So, and we put a lot of their products out in the market. I can tell you that. It's been really great equipment for us. We also do sell a lot of Ameristar. I know a lot of you guys are familiar with that. It's just their economy line, builder's grade, whatever you want to call it. A lot of our rental properties take that equipment. It's been great as well. Virtually, we have not in the 5 or 6 years that we've been installing it, have not. I think I've replaced one train warranty compressor and not a single Ameristar condenser compressor replacement yet.
No, that's sweet. So are you like we're a factory authorized dealer for carrier? Are you guys like a dealer or?
Yeah, we're what you call a TCS dealer, train comfort specialist.
Oh, so that means you pay $5,000 for an air handler rather than $10,000?
Yeah, that's simply not true. That I don't know how Train got that reputation for being quote unquote a lot higher than other brands. I just don't believe that. I know if I go buy, every once in a while I need a specific type of unit, whether it be a specific, a shorter air handler, because I don't have their air handlers are not very short. So if I need something special, and until recently, until the last year and a half or so, all of their furnaces were still 40 inches tall, where everybody else has gone to the 33, 34-inch tall furnaces. So there's been some situations with these coil sizes growing that we've had to go ahead and, buy a Coleman furnace. I hate to say it, but I just would not buy a Rheem furnace. I installed Rheem for quite a while, and I had lots of problems with them. Not the furnaces, but the air conditioner sides of them. But Coleman, York, the factory's right here in Wichita, Kansas, which is close to my hometown. So, it's locally made, American made. So I know there's been times where they've outsourced some of their coils, and that always turns into problems. But for the most part, the stuff's made here in Wichita, Kansas. So I used to sell it for quite a while, and it's always been great equipment. But I do like the Train stuff. It's been really good for us. What I really love about it is we have an awesome supplier, which is the O'Connor Company, who was recently purchased by Munch. I can't think of I think it's just Munch Distributors or something like that. But they're also, I don't think they're a public company, just like O'Connor wasn't a public company. And, just family business. These people grew, and then they added location. I think their primary locations are in Chicago. So I'm sure some of you guys that are in Chicago know all about Munch. So, but we originally partnered with O'Connor Company, and they've just been great. I mean, any support that we need, they give it to us.
Well, that you can't beat that, man. That's why around here, Carrier for us, I mean, it's we go to the CE. It's actually, the Carrier store, but
yeah,
they're great. They're great for us, man. They really are. We have, whenever we need something, my salesman, I grew up with him. So we're little kids. I used to bang his sister back in the day.
Why does that not surprise?
But yeah, it's what's that?
Why does that not surprise me?
Hey, shit happens. She was a pretty girl, but right. But no, he's awesome, man. And I call him if I need something. I mean, he's right on top of it. So I know all the guys there, so I understand what you're saying. That does make a big deal. One thing I will say about what you said, not to take this on too far, but I know when I need to get Train stuff by me, I have to go to a supplier called Lion and Conklin. They're the big Train dealer around here. Train stuff's pretty expensive for me. It's sometimes like, I know one time I had to get a coil one time, and it made more sense for me just to buy the whole fucking air handler, because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. For what I'm going to pay for this coil, I can just get the whole damn air handler. So
yeah, I could see that. I could see that in an air handler situation, because those coils are typically a little more specific. They're not just a general, standalone coil.
No, that makes sense. But all right, enough talking about Carrier and Train, because we're never going to agree. So we will agree to disagree, Mr. Kelley. Because, but I guess what we should do is go into a little thing that we like to call, what is that, Kelley?
Now here's Go Make Money with Kelly McKay.
What is up? So, I wanted to talk a little bit about our attitude. If you've never heard, or, the first time I heard this little equation, I heard it from a guy named Jack Canfield, and he probably heard it from somebody else and passed it along. But it is E plus R equals O, which means the event plus the response equals the outcome. So this, here's an example that I wanted to give, and how this is relevant to our jobs and what we do every day. Let's say that you just got home from running an after-hours service call. You just kicked your shoes off, sat down with a plate of food, been home for 15 minutes, and the phone rings again. And it's a customer that needs your services. So that's the event. Now, the response that you give that event, you can get pissed off. And if you want to get pissed off and have a shitty attitude, then chances are that call's not going to go so well. That's your outcome or the experience that you get. So if we can try to keep ourselves, keep a better attitude, we're going to get a better outcome. It's the bottom line. Attitude is a settled way of thinking or feeling about someone or something, typically one that is reflected in a person's behavior. One other thing about poor attitude, anytime if you can't, if you're having a hard time keeping a positive attitude, because we all have those people within our company that just bring us down. And we don't typically maybe treat that guy quite as well or that gal quite as well. And the reason for that is that our attitude towards others determines their attitudes toward us. And when you decide to change your attitude, the people will start treating you differently. So if you have a hard time maintaining a positive attitude, maybe you have to go do a crawl space job and you're just not excited about it, or you have to go do an attic job and you're not excited about it. It's up to you on how you respond to being given that situation. And chances are it's going to determine the outcome. You're probably going to have a good, smooth day if you keep your attitude up, shoot the shit with your buddies while you're replacing the equipment. Or if you want to be pissed off all day because you got assigned an attic job or a crawl space job, then you're going to have a shitty day. That's basically what it boils down to.
I say this all the time that you have to be more worried about the solution than the problem. And you get guys when they face they hit a wall or something like that, they're so worried about the problem at hand than worried about the solution that's going to take to get past it. Like we talked about last week with the whole customer thing. When you get those bad situations, you got to find a solution to be able to get through it. You can't sit there and get all bitter and get all pissed off and get an attitude, because that's going to take that situation and make it worse. That's not going to solve anything. If you got to do that shitty job that day, well, guess what? It happens to all of us, especially when you're coming up. You're going to get those dick jobs. That's just the way it works. You got to earn your stripes. Hell, I'm the fucking boss and I still do some shitty jobs. I don't want to do it, but hey, I take it for the team. I do what I got to do to help the team, because you got to be a team player. Even big companies, I know sometimes it's hard to fall into that. You're just a number, which is thus the reason why I didn't like working for big companies. But regardless, big company, small company, one-man operation, you got to be a team player. Overall, you got to have that kind of mentality, that kind of mindset, and it's just going to make your day so much easier, man.
Yeah, just things will go a lot smoother for you. A poor attitude, when you have a poor attitude, you're basically a human magnet for unpleasant experiences. That's the bottom line. You're not going to have a good day. But what's the good news is that the same principle holds true with a good attitude. A good attitude is good results, and a great attitude makes great results. So you just got to be aware of your attitude and your response. When the event happens, no matter what that event is, just be aware of your response. And if you can change your response and turn it into something better than what you're originally inclined to think of or start dwelling on, then your outcome and the experience will be better.
Yeah, definitely. And a couple of guys, since this attitude thing kind of plays into it, a couple of guys, even though we talked about it last week about the whole dealing with bad customers, or we didn't talk about it as much as we liked about, but this plays into that, guys. You need to go in there. I don't want to drag this on, but you only get one chance to make that first impression. We've all heard that. So I tell my guys, the first time that you talk to that customer, like we always call when we're on the way. I know now with technology, there's ways to send emails and stuff like that, but we're still kind of old school. So we call them when we're on the way. That phone call is your first, the first time that you're technically talking to that customer. So if that is, hey, this is Gil with blah, 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 just wanted to let you know I was on the way out. If you sound all depressed, like you're going to jump off a fucking bridge, then that's coming across to the customer. So when I call, I probably sound like a douchebag, but at least I'm happy and I'm upbeat. Oh, hey, Mrs. Jones, this is Gil from, Supreme Heating and AC. Supposed to come out and take a look at your AC today? Oh, yeah. All right, man. Well, I just wanted to let you know that I was on the way out to you. And if it's going to be 20 minutes, I say, well, it looks like I'm probably like 30 minutes away. If God forbid I hit any traffic, I'll give you a call and let you know. Does that sound good? Yeah, that sounds good. And then they're happy. They get off the phone happy. Oh, man, that guy seems like a nice guy. He's going to come take care of my problem. Not, they don't get off the phone like, man, that guy sounds like a dick. You know what I mean, Cal?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's great that you added a little bit of time to your time. That way you under promise and over.
Exactly. I say that all the time, man, all the time. I tell my guys to do that. You rather do that than tell them, oh, hey, I'll be there in 15 minutes and it takes a half an hour. Then that right there, some customers might not care, but all it takes is that one customer to be pissed off. And that whole call gets out of whack. And sometimes you get that, especially when it's your first call, you get that first call that's just horrible. Everything goes wrong. You can't find a problem, or you're diagnosing this, and then, oh shit, now it looks like it's this. Oh man, well, then the rest of your day, you start getting pissed off, and the rest of your day is just fucking down the tubes.
Right. And that goes back to that.
You got to stay focused.
The first impression, if you show up late, you just got off on the wrong foot, and it's going to be hard to overcome that because so much weighs on that first impression.
Yep. 15 minutes early is on time, and on time is late. And if you're late, you're fired. I mean, that's just,
yeah.
Time is of the essence, especially when guys show up for job interviews and can't get there on time. Personally, me, if you come to a job interview with me and you show up late, you might as well turn around and walk back out. I'll go through the process and I'll sit there and talk to you, but there's no way in fucking hell that I'll hire you. I'll just be honest. I won't. Because if you can't, put your best foot forward for a job interview, what the hell are you going to do when you actually get hired?
Right. Yeah, I agree. And what do you what's your thoughts on dress for a job interview? Like, I think you should overdress just slightly.
Yeah, I agree. I like it when guys come in not wearing like sweatpants and
exactly
a hoodie or something. They come in with like a decent shirt, like maybe like a pair of khakis or jeans. Like, they don't gotta be dressed up as long as they look well groomed, shaved, well put together. They don't smell like a bag of buttholes. I mean, just so you can see they take care of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
They carry themselves well.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
So, but yeah, the attitude's a big part, man. I can't. Can't talk about it enough.
It will just make or break your day. It's the bottom line. It'll make or break your day. And you just have to make that decision that, hey, I'm going to be upbeat. I'm going to think about the good things that are going on, the good, and how I'm going to run my calls to the best of my ability and do the best I can and try not to get frustrated and keep my anxiety in check. And you'll have a lot better day. Bottom line.
One thing I will say, though, about attitude, if you break that down, there's a couple of different attitudes, okay? You have the attitude towards yourself, you have the attitude towards the customer, then you have an attitude towards your customer. All three of those got to be in line. You got to have some like Zen fucking chi shit going on, you know what I mean? Align your proper Zen or whatever you got to do, but all those things got to try to be in line. Yes. As far as your attitude, just for the overall process.
You have to at least conduct yourself as having a positive attitude. Whether you are feeling it that day or not, at least conduct yourself as if.
Yeah, because we've all had days when you got to work with that sappy fuck who's just, moping around all day. Just like, suck it up, dude. We got to work regardless. You walking around, with your slapping your gums all day, just talking nonsense. It's just annoying. So
yeah, and it's something that affects the entire team. One bad apple in the team just affects everybody's morale. Affects. I mean, I guarantee, especially right now, as we're in the middle of summer. I mean, I'm seeing some of the temperatures that you guys are sharing. in your area, and it's just ridiculously hot, and that means exhaustion is coming. People are going to get tired, they're going to get cranky, and so it's just about being able to maintain your level on your attitude, and not let it get too far out of control, because it's so easy to do when you get tired. I've done it many times. I've been extremely rude with customers before just because I'm freaking exhausted.
Yeah, but you figure those moments when you're at your weakest, your mental fortitude is just not there. You're tired, you want to see your family, you haven't eaten all day.
Yes.
When you push through those times, that is what shows true character and true, it shows what you're made of. Hey, we all have flaws, and not saying that we're all going to be perfect. That's not what I mean, because I've done the same thing Kelly just said. But those moments are going to be what really defines who you are. You, I guess I want to make sure I say this right, is those are the things that you have to be able to push through. That's the things that I can look at a guy sometimes and see how he carries himself, and just tells you whether that guy's going to be a good employee. If he's got that positive attitude that we've been talking about for the last 20 fucking minutes, in case you've been living under a rock. But, also his attitude, because a lot of times that's going to come into the way he works. Is he a good worker? Does he do what he's supposed to do because he's got that upbeat attitude? Is he dealing with customers better? Is he showing up on time? All those things come into a big package, but they all they stem off of the attitude part. Because normally, every once in a while you find a guy with a shitty attitude is a good mechanic, but there's always a but.
Oh yeah, but it takes energy to maintain a positive attitude. It takes energy to maintain your being upbeat and keeping focused on the customer. That all takes energy, and when our energy gets down, that's when shit can go wrong. So you just have to be aware. That's all. And this, by no means am I saying that, so happy-go-lucky, may you always be happy. I'm not saying that's bullshit. It's impossible. We have ups, we have downs, we have highs and lows. It's like a roller coaster. It's simply just becoming aware and trying to maintain awareness so you don't let it get too low, and you don't say something you didn't mean, or, once again, you don't act out of character, your normal character, which is sometimes it's hard to do, especially, like I said, as we get into these later summer months of it's been hot for a couple fucking months. And I know you guys are tired, because my guys are tired. I'm tired, but this is like Gil said, separates the men from the boys. And this is the time where we got to push through this, because we're going to grow.
Yep. Well, one thing that's very important, I got to tell you right now, Kelly, that I don't want to forget to tell you. I haven't had a blue moon in a while, and this is like the third one, and these things are fucking delicious, man.
I just had my first blue moon just like 2 weekends ago. It was really good.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine who left them here, and I think I just slugged 3 of them while when you first started talking in your segment, and holy shit, these things are going down smooth. Yummy. Not that I advocate drinking alcohol, but if you're over 21, I do. But
and now,
hey, there's nothing wrong with you have
and now
a hard day
getting drunk with Gil Kelley.
Hey man, you work all day and you're hot. There's nothing like coming home to a cold beer. And I'm not even a big drinker. I won't even lie, but when I do drink them, I drink them. That's all I'm saying. But alrighty, enough of this attitude shit, because I have a bad attitude. Everybody can eat shit. All right, that's moving on.
Now time to say what with Gil Kelley.
All right, guys. All right, say what with me, yours truly, Gil Kelley. A topic that I want to talk about tonight, and it's been something that I've talked to a couple other guys for a little bit, is callbacks. We all know that they're a nature of the business. I mean, we all play around. I mean, and even me being the fucking god that I am, everybody gets callbacks. They're like I say, they're a nature of the business. But we have to be able to, one, limit callbacks, because the fact that we know they're going to happen, we can't have stupid callbacks, because like a guy forgot to flip a switch, or a guy, how we always say, like, take the blinders off, didn't look at the whole problem. Oh, I changed the capacitor, the unit's running, but he never went inside to see that it looks like their fucking cat died in the filter. I mean, little things. That's why, to me, I have a checklist that we make for our guys, and it goes down from the indoor to the outdoor, the model serial number, thermostat, all that kind of stuff. So that's why I found good luck with some of our younger guys, because they haven't had a bunch of bad habits yet. They don't know. So this list, they're like, okay, let me do that. And these guys have been fucking tearing it up, man. They've had less callbacks than some of the older guys. I mean, no bullshit, like by a lot.
Yeah.
Just because they're following these simple steps that you're making sure you cycle the unit off before you leave. Okay, it's running. Now turn it off. Make sure it goes off. Or, okay, you got done cleaning it, blah, blah, blah. Everything's good. Turn it on. Watch it run. Make sure it comes back on. Little things like that. It takes a couple extra seconds, but it just saves a lot, man, because callbacks can be, they can be the demise to a company. I mean, yeah, like we said, everybody's going to have them, but when you start getting too many callbacks, I mean, that's just profit going out the window. Unless you're a company that, like, you don't pay the guy to go back to do his callback. I mean, we don't do that, sadly. I mean, if a guy has to go back, they get paid to go back, and obviously the customer's not paying for it. That's a killer. It's hard. I mean, I know you have this, Cal.
Everybody has it. And that's the thing is, it's funny that you say that it kills profit, because I was just going through, I'm a little bit behind on breaking down my invoices. So I was on like July 3rd or July 5th, and we had 1-0 ticket in there in the mix. And that 1-0 ticket, brought our gross margin down like ridiculous. I mean, it should have been like 75 to 85 gross margin, but instead it was like 71 because of that 1-0, which goes back to, like we've talked in the past about charging enough. You're going to have callbacks that are inevitable. Well, in order to cover the cost of some of those callbacks, yes, you have to manage them, just like Gil's been doing and building that sheet. That's a great idea. To minimize the callbacks. You're still going to have them irregardless. And when they happen, it really kills the profitability of the company. So if you are getting in a hurry and you're having multiple callbacks, it's time to slow your guys down. Or if you're the guy having callbacks, slow the fuck down and be thorough with your service call. Every single service call. Make sure, just like Gil said, that you turned it on, that it's shut off. Make sure that the disconnect's plugged back in before you walk away from it. Just be absolutely certain that everything's good before you walk away.
Yeah, and guys, a lot of these callbacks are little stupid shit. And I'm not talking about, because sometimes there's callbacks that, you'll offer a customer things and they won't do it at the time. And then a week later, something goes wrong because of those things that they chose not to do. And now they're calling back in. Granted, that's not a callback, and they should pay for service. But as a manager or a business owner, if it's 5 days later, you can't charge another diagnostic fee to go back out there. It's just bad business. But we always tell them, there's no diagnostic fee to come out. But if we get out there and the problem is different than from what we were just out there is going to be an additional charge. Make sure you say that up front. Because if I go out there and they say, your coils need to be cleaned, and we go out and now a capacitor's blown, or we change the capacitor and now the outdoor fan motor's burnt up because the coil was dirty, then that's on them. I mean, we're not eating that. We told you, to clean the coil, last time, and you didn't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is there's so much responsibility in a technician's, going to one service call. It's just completely, the responsibilities are just stacked against you. So it's so good to have like a checklist to make sure that you're hitting everything. But I totally get when things get missed once in a while, as long as we're aware of it and we make sure it doesn't continue to happen. But I mean, you're dealing with the customer, you're dealing with the problems, you're dealing with the, finding the solution and diagnosing it. You might be giving options, you're writing an invoice, you're collecting the payment, you may have to perform a certain task to get the damn thing running again. I mean, there's just a lot that you have to do, which is why service technicians are fucking badass motherfuckers. But the bottom line is we got to minimize callbacks. So we have to do all the little bullshit things that we maybe don't like doing, just to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, guys, and we're not saying you got to be perfect and can't make mistakes. That's not what we're saying, because if you remember what I said at the beginning of the segment, all companies have callbacks, and we know that there's no company out there that has zero callbacks. That's just, if they do, they're fucking lying. But what we're saying is try to limit the ones that we can, and there's no. It makes a huge deal. Like we said, it's a profit killer. And like Kelly just said, how you add up all your calls, like your number of calls by, and then you add up all the money together, and then you try to like divide that by the number of calls you did, and all these different things to find out all these different numbers and these profit margins and all this other stuff. And like Kelly said, when you start throwing zeros in there, well, here, a matter of fact, let me put it this way, because a lot of you guys, you service techs out there, most companies want an average invoice, your ticket to be an average invoice, a number. We look for like as close to $500 as possible. So think about it this way. If you had to go out and say they want an average of $500, you're going to need a couple, $1,500, $2,000 tickets to make up for those zero or those just $95 or whatever your diagnostic call is, because they don't have the money. You got to have a bunch of those to be able to make up for them. Imagine putting a whole bunch of zero tickets in there. Dude, your average is going to plummet. It's only going to take maybe one or two for that month to drop your invoice average down by a shitload. So it's the same thing when a boss is trying to figure out the profit margins. When you're throwing those zeros in there, you're still paying a guy to go out there. You're still paying for the insurance on the truck. The girl still answered the phone, all that good stuff. You're just not getting any money back to do it.
Absolutely. All that money up front was spent to get that customer, or if they're an existing customer, whatever the case. And I get it, guys. I mean, you guys like I said, you're badass motherfuckers. I know, because I'm a service tech by heart, and I'm a badass motherfucker. So, but
that's me.
But yeah, I mean, your job is like, it's a very difficult job. There's so much on your plate, but take that extra little bit of time, go that extra little bit of mile, because there's no obstacles on that extra mile. Make sure you finish the call 100% completely, because we get them all. We're just like any other company. We do get callbacks, and some of them are bullshit callbacks. Like, dude, you got to take care of this shit the first time. We can't be going back all the time. But it happens. And sometimes it's maybe a first time for one of my guys. And when I say first time, like this particular problem was a first, and maybe we just need to have a conversation about it. And the main thing is that, he accepts the criticism and lets me know he's going to make sure and do better next time. And that's all we can do, is try to improve every day. But callbacks will never go away. They're the biggest pain in the ass in our industry. Don't you hate it when people call Gil and say, the thing about customers is it don't matter if it was a month ago that you were out there, they consider it a callback. So it's not just that you're losing money to go back. Your reputation is on the line. Your reputation within your company as a service technician, and your company's reputation every time we get a callback. Because that customer could go leave a shitty ass review, or they could tell their friends how they just didn't fix it right the first time. Nothing good comes from callbacks. So we just have to do our best. They are going to happen. They're inevitable, but minimize them.
Oh yeah. Well, one thing that I always say, and we used to say this on the other podcast with the Hamburglar or Bernie Madoff.
That meme was so
we
funny.
we you do a good job for somebody, they might tell maybe 5 people. You do a bad job for somebody, they're going to tell 20. That's just how it works. You have to. Fuck, I forgot where I was going with that.
So what do you suggest to keep callbacks to a minimum? Maybe we should give a solution. I mean, I know your checklist. Well, absolutely.
Well, to be honest, that's one of the things. And I know a lot of guys are going to be like, I don't need a checklist. I've been doing this for years. Yeah, you need to get into a routine, okay? That is mine, a routine that you do the same thing no matter what the customer says. And this goes into, like I said, with taking the blinders off, that you do the same thing, the same sequence of operations. Like that furnace has to go through the same sequence of operations every time it fires up. If one doesn't work, it stops there, and it'll keep trying. And if it doesn't, it's going to give you an error code saying, hey, this thing ain't fucking working here. You need to do the same thing. You walk into a house, you look at the thermostat, then you go downstairs, even though the customer's saying, oh, everything's fine down there, it's outside. Or I just changed the filter, don't worry about it. So what? Go down there anyway. Check the indoor. Make sure the filter's good. Coil looks fine. All right, blower wheel's not cruddy. That's how you're doing a full diagnosis of the system. You're looking at everything. Because what you can't do is after it's done and be like, oh, I didn't see that. Okay, well, why? Yeah. Why didn't you see that? They don't want to hear, oh, I didn't see that, or I didn't do, that's not what they want to hear. Oh, well, I paid you to come out and look at it and you didn't see it. Well, why? That's all they're going to ask is why. And no matter what answer you give them, it's not going to be right.
You don't necessarily have to do the work right there on the spot. But like if you go out on a no cooling call and then you get them cooling because it's like a bad capacitor or something and you replace the filter, but you didn't like check the blower wheel or you didn't check the connections at the control board in the electrical compartment in the furnace. And then we get called back like 2 weeks later and we find that if there's a bad connection at the control board at the furnace, the wire was clearly like the terminal wasn't even tightened, or the blower wheel's full of shit. But we never documented that the first time we were out. All you got to do is at least evaluate the system and document it, because if you don't document it, then you're the bad guy. The company's the bad guy because why didn't you catch this the first time? I mean, we've all had that conversation with customers before. So it's just about checking everything, being thorough, documenting it, having that discussion with the customer. We don't have to clean the blower wheel today. But yeah, if I find a loose connection on a loose thermostat wire connection at the furnace, I'm going to go ahead and tighten it. But it's just about having those conversations. And that way, when it is a callback, you're not like, hey, we were just here. Now we're going to clean this blower wheel for free. Because this is something that there's no way we shouldn't have known that this was so disgusting. And it wasn't even noted on our ticket. Well, that shit comes back to bite you in the ass.
Yep, I say that all the time, man. I always say that you need to document everything and put it in your ticket, because if you don't put it in your ticket, it never happened. But if you write it in your ticket and customer signs it, your ass is good, boy. You're as good as gold. They come back to say, oh, I don't remember that. Oh, well, Mrs. Jones, do you have a copy of your invoice? Yeah. Well, if you go ahead and read it, it states in there that, little Johnny was out there and blah, blah, blah. That's a big deal, guys, is being thorough. And like Kelly said, like with our guys, unless they have time, they're not cleaning the coils and the blower wheels the same day. Unless the system can't work without it, like can't function at all, then yeah, we'll get somebody to come back and do it, and we'll just fit it back into the schedule. But you at least, you brought it up, you covered your ass, and did what you had to do. That's what I mean by those little things, by taking those small steps and making that routine. Because I even did it myself a couple of times. A couple of lists, I would go out to calls and I would have the list and I would do everything. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I don't need this list. I check all this shit anyway. And then I would leave the list in the truck and I would go through and do my routine. And then I'd go back in the truck and I'd be like, oh shit, I forgot this one.
Yeah.
And then I'd do it again. And then I'd realize the more you do it, you start forgetting things off that list. That's why we made that list, and we make our guys, I know we're still paper tickets for now, but they staple that to every ticket. That way we know they're going through all those steps, and it has limited callbacks dramatically. Like I can't even, not saying we don't have them, but they have went down dramatically, man. It's been something so simple has made such a
and
huge
it
difference.
probably, it holds them accountable. You can't have a guy go out and say, well, I did wash the condenser. And then you go out, a week later when because a callback happens and you find that the one side against the house is completely filthy, you know that he didn't wash that thing. So, it's just a way to hold people accountable also. And we shouldn't nobody should be afraid to be held accountable. It's not a bad thing. If you do your job, just do your job.
And God forbid you make a mistake, man up to it. Don't be one of those fucking bitches who tries to push it off on somebody else.
Amen.
There's nothing worse than I hate. If I pull you in my office and I ask you a question,
speak the truth.
I already know the fucking answer to it. Yeah, I already know the fucking answer. Just tell me the truth and it'll be fine. Because if you lie to me, then you're a fucking liar and it's going to be hard for me to ever believe you again. Just say, hey, boss, I'm sorry, I missed it. I fucked up. Or, hey, did you say you cleaned this coil here and you didn't really do it? Because I went out there and the blower reel looks like shit and so is the coil. Yeah, man, I didn't, sorry. I didn't think it was that bad and we were busy. Just tell the truth. And you might hear a little slacking. Yeah, you might hear a little slacking like, come on, man, you can't do that kind of shit, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But it's better than you lying.
Lying's one of those non-negotiables. Just don't lie. Because if you can't tell the truth on that, you probably can't tell the truth on other shit as well. So
yeah, you don't want to be a liar. I mean, there's too many of those people out there. If you get my drift. Jesus, stop screaming into the microphone, Kelly.
Sorry,
my fucking eardrums are blown. Alrighty, let's see if I can. I know last week I had a little trouble finding the Q&A. Now I can't even find out where the scroll. There it is. The scroll thing is on my mouse. But once again, Gil, the HVAC god. Yeah, you fucking know it, people. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can find this shit. I think it was the third one. You'll have to tell me if this is right, Kel.
And now, Q&A with Gil and Kelley.
Hey guys, it's Manny Mojica from North Carolina. I love the podcast already. Can't wait to hear more. I have a few questions. I just finished HVAC school and I'm having a hard time finding work. Any suggestions or tips? How do I prove that I'll be a great employee?
Like I just said before, first impression. I know there's a lot of places out there that they're looking for, people that have so much experience, but young guys who want to work are hard to find. So if you interview, it might take a few interviews. You're not going to go do one interview and find the job. And even if you find a job, you still might have to switch around. But what I'm saying is go to that interview and all the things that we said previous to this. Make sure you don't look like shit when you go. You look like you're well put together. I'm not saying you got to wear a fucking three-piece, tuxedo, but, go in there with you look clean. You're not all wrinkled up. You took a shower. You smell good. You washed your ass, all that kind of stuff. And just be in there with an upbeat attitude, make sure that you want your personality to be infectious. I have interviewed guys where they were just so upbeat and positive, and the guy probably didn't know the difference between a filter and a screwdriver, but his attitude was so infectious. I'm like, fuck, man, I want this guy to work for me. Maybe doesn't know that much, but I can teach him. He's got enough of the foundation part. Showing up on time, You know, when a guy shows up 15 minutes early and he's sitting out in the lobby waiting, that is awesome. Not when I look at the secretary and say, "Hey, is that guy here yet?" You know, it's fucking 8 o'clock. He was supposed to be here at 7:45. No, Gil, I'm still waiting for him. Little things like that. If you go into a decent company and have a decent manager or a decent boss, they're going to see those aspects and take a chance on you. I mean, that's how I feel about it, Kel.
You know, I can tell you one thing is, in most interviews, and I'm guilty of asking this question, there's certain questions that you just normally get asked at interviews. One particular one is, you know, what are some of your strengths and weaknesses? So be sure that you can answer that question. And then I would say, you know, just you got to sell your work ethic. So I'm always looking at previous history. I understand it's kind of a different time now than it used to be. I mean, people jump around a lot, but I still want to see at one point or another that you spent some time somewhere. Now, if you're right out of high school or something, you went right to trade school, that's different. But I like to see that you could at least stay somewhere for a year. But I see a lot of people, you know, I've done a lot of interviews and a lot of people have just jumped around. And that just makes me question why they're jumping around. Could they not get along with people? Did they get fired or laid off? You know, what was the deal? But I mean, you got to basically sell your work ethic. You know, if you're a hard worker, be sure to communicate that to them, just how hard you're going to work for the company. Also, if they don't ask, you know, what you could bring to the company, be sure that you bring it up and say, look, here's what I think I could bring to your company, and have a response for that, because that's going to impress the shit out of me if you come into my office and tell me that, because you know what you want. You have some confidence, you know, be confident, speak up so we can hear you. Also, almost one of the things that drives me crazy is the whatever they call it, the wet fish handshake. Doesn't that drive you crazy, Gil?
Oh yeah, you know, you shake somebody's hand like you got a set of fucking balls, man. You grab a man's hand, you look him in the eye, you squeeze, you know. Don't give me that goddamn lip noodle or I'm going to smack you in your face, because gotta hate that. The other thing is real big. The other thing I thought about real bad is turn your fucking cell phone off, okay? When you go into a job interview, turn your cell phone off, turn on silent, put it in your pocket, because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when I'm interviewing you for a job and your cell phone goes off, that better be your fucking dying grandmother. Your mother she better need you for some goddamn family emergency. Otherwise, your phone should have been left in the car. For the 15 minutes that we're doing this interview, you don't need to be on your fucking
here.
cell phone.
And the bottom line is, if you're responding to an ad that was posted by the company that you're interviewing with, the bottom line is they need you. They need you. So all you got to do is go in and prove to them that you're the right guy. And if you take some initiative with that, be confident, walk in there like you want that job. You got to want it. How bad's your desire to get that job? If you're just going to sit there, slump shoulders, and, you know, whisper when you talk and shake like a damn sissy, you're not going to get the job. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, the other thing is if places make you do a criminal background and, you know, if you got something that's, you know, kind of sketchy in your background, that it was just one of those young and dumb things or something like that, or you got like a PBJ, a probation before judgment, or something like that, a stat docket. If somebody asks you about it, be honest. I mean, obviously, if they don't bring it up, then I would let it go. I mean, obviously, don't, you know, say something forthcoming that's going to hurt yourself. But if they ask you about it, be like, hey, I see that you got this on your record. You know, what's going on with this? Just be honest about it. Obviously, like I said, don't hang yourself, but answer the questions honestly. I've had guys that I've had a few hiccups, but they answered every question that I asked them honestly.
Yeah.
I gave them a shot, and they turned out to be good. Hey, we all make mistakes, man. When I was younger, I was one of the biggest fuck ups you can ever be. And because of people giving me opportunities, is because how I got to where I am today. So 100%. I'm all for giving people second chances.
100%.
Everybody needs
just be honest, be genuine, sell yourself.
Yeah.
You know? This is another thing in sales. That's why you can never not study sales. Sales is everything. So you got to sell yourself, because the bottom line is you're going to be walking into my customers' homes, and I want my customer to know that, they're my customers, they put trust in me that I'm not going to hire some dickweed that's not going to do a good job for them. And I've made some mistakes. I think we all have when it comes to hiring somebody. I was just fooled. But the bottom line is we have to, we've gotten better, and we try to, just like dealing with bad customers, you see the patterns. So, but the bottom line is sell yourself, be genuine, still be honest. I think bring that stuff up, and me personally, because I want to hear it. It's not going to make me not hire you. If you fucked up when you were younger, and you know that you fucked up and you paid the price, and here you are, that's not going to stop you from getting a job.
No, make sure you can pass a drug test too. Don't be those assholes that, we have the interview and I send you to a drug test and it comes back with every drug under the sun. It's like, really? Then why did you even come? But yeah, that should be good. And a little short story real fast before we close this thing down. 12 years ago, when I met my boss, the owner of my company, when we had a meeting and he asked me, I will never forget this question. He says, "What are your plans for yourself in this trade? What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, can I be honest with you, sir?" He said, "Yeah, of course." I said, I want your job. I want to sit behind your desk." And he said that when I said that, that was one of the most impressed things that he saw, because he knew that I was a go-getter. And I told him, I said, "Sir, I've always wanted to be a chief. I don't want to be an Indian." And that was always my mindset. And like I said, when I was younger, I did a lot of stupid shit, fucked up a lot of stuff. But when I got myself straight, to me, it was go time, because I knew that I dicked off. I had no time to waste. If I wanted to be where I wanted to be and do the things I wanted to do, then I needed to bust my ass to get there. That's why I'm not sitting trying to toot my own horn, but that's why I'm 35 in the position that I'm in, because it's what I wanted. I stuck to that goal and I went and got it. And all you guys are the same way. If you want something in this trade, then nobody can tell you can't fucking have it. Okay, maybe it's not with the company you're currently at and you got to move. But if you want to be something in the trade, you do all the legwork and bust your ass, and motherfucker, you're going to have it. That's how it works, man.
Right, you make a decision and then you start taking action to get it, period. That's how anything gets accomplished in the business. Anything gets accomplished in your personal life, your personal goals. You decide you want it first, and then commit to it, and then start taking action to get it.
I agree, man. It's but that was kind of off. We went off on a tangent because when you ask a question, Kelly never shuts the fuck up. So, but
yeah, thanks, Manny.
I hope that helps you, bud. I appreciate the question.
You'll get it, buddy. Just hang in there. Keep trying.
Yeah,
don't stop. I tell you what, if you get turned down 10 times, go 10 more times. You will get what you want. Just don't stop, buddy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can't agree with that anymore. And the other thing is, guys, use our group to our advantage, man. If you guys are in an area looking for a job, we have guys from all over the country, in different countries for that matter. Post on there, hey, I'm in, like for me, hey, I'm in the Baltimore, Maryland area, looking for another job. Anybody out there, any companies hiring? I've seen plenty of guys do it, and guys have came back like, hey, call here. So we're all here to help each other, man. Put that out there, and a lot of these guys are going to come and they're going to help you. So, but you'll be good, Manny. I got faith in you, buddy. Welcome to the trade. And thank you for asking the question, brother. I appreciate it.
If you're fresh out of school and you really have no experience, I'd like to give you my program, HVAC Service Ready, because it's more practical knowledge. It's not textbook bullshit. It's more practical knowledge that can get you up to speed a lot faster. So I've got your email. I think I can sign you up. So I will shoot you an email as soon as I get you signed up, and I hope you'll take full advantage of it. And I think that it'll help boost your career a lot faster than just learning the day by day. Yes, it still takes the day by day. It just takes time to gain the experience, to get good, and to become efficient. But check out the program. I'm going to send it to you, buddy, for free. And we appreciate the question, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys, man. Don't forget to check out Kelly's programs, HVAC Service Ready. They're awesome. Don't forget, man, you guys can check us out. Obviously, you guys know we're in Facebook, HVAC Uncensored group. We are at HVAC Uncensored on Instagram, HVAC Uncensored on YouTube. We're in all the major podcast apps, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Some of you guys have told me something's up with Google Play. I'm in the process of emailing back and forth to get that straightened out. I apologize. I don't know if you guys can download the Stitcher app and try that for now. The podcast is also coming up on YouTube, so you guys can check it out there as well. We appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. Like we always say, HVAC Uncensored wouldn't be what it is without you guys. So let's close this thing out, Kel.
Hey, guys, I hope this was beneficial to you. I hope you take some of the things you learned and implement them in your career so you can have better days and better weeks and months and years and advance your career. And if you're out there trying to get a job after you're out of school, and believe me, I've interviewed lots of guys right out of school that just didn't bring it. And I need somebody who brings it. So I get that. But thanks so much, Manny Mojica, for sending your question in. Guys, until next week, go make money.
Thanks, guys. As always, we appreciate you. Thanks for listening again. Another week. You guys be safe out there. Be smart. Always make it home the same way you left. Until next week, peace. We're out.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.